NHL 21 is set to release on October 16, 2020, and hockey fans are cautiously optimistic about what EA Sports has in store for us this fall. In fact, EA actually said these words about NHL 21 in a recent update, quote, "Chell community. For NHL 21, we made the decision to focus on adding innovation and new features, rather than the resource-heavy task of porting the game to new console technology," unquote. Innovation and new features, you say? Well, I think we can all agree that there are certain new features that the NHL series could really use. Please note that we're only talking franchise mode today, but we will be back with another list in the future talking about the general gameplay and presentation in the NHL series. If you have any ideas for that, or if we miss anything in this list, please feel free to hit us up in the comment section below, over at Operation Sports Forums, or just yell at me on social media. We're Operation Sports, I'm Matthew Ederer, and these are the top 5 features we're hoping for in NHL 21's franchise mode. Number 5. Stanley Cup banners, jersey retirements, and Hall of Fame ceremonies. Just look at that beautiful picture. Thanks to Stadium Journey for that one. In franchise mode, if we win a title, we should be able to see our Stanley Cup banners hanging in the rafters. If one of our players make the Hall of Fame, we should see a short Hall of Fame ceremony cutscene. Doesn't have to be long, maybe a couple seconds. I'll even go you one further and steal an idea from the highly underrated franchise Hockey Manager series. We should be able to set specific criteria for players to hit that make them a Hall of Famer. I do know it's almost naive to expect a console sports game to be even close to as deep as a PC sim game, but there are certain smaller ideas that the NHL series should have straight up stolen from franchise Hockey Manager years ago, and this is one of them. Number 4. Specialty games. We need specialty games in our franchise mode, such as the All-Star Game, outdoor games, the Olympics, and the World Juniors. The NHL's first Winter Classic was January 1st, 2008. Future 2020 number 1 overall draft pick Alexis Lafreniere was 6 years old. The Winter Classic has been in the NHL for an entire generation almost. Wouldn't it be nice to have it in the actual franchise mode? While we're at it, adding the Olympics and the World Junior Tournament to the franchise schedule would add a much needed dose of hockey realism. Obviously, it would be very hard, almost impossible, to license the actual Olympic name and presentation, but it's not necessary. FIFA doesn't always have proper World Cup branding. Just call it the International Tournament and do a pro tournament every 4 years and a junior tournament every Christmas. I personally am not much of an all-star game guy, but should probably add that too. Number 3. NCAA and KHL involvement. In October 2019, the NCAA finally voted to allow college athletes to earn money from their names and likenesses. In fact, there are rumors that up to 68 NCAA teams will be included in NBA 2K21. Why couldn't NHL get some of that sweet NCAA involvement as well? It's time for the St. Cloud states of the world to finally take their rightful place in the NHL franchise. The NHL series does a good job of including different teams from around the world, but the KHL, NCAA, and US National Development Team are glaring omissions. We also need a playable Euro Elite League or CHL League franchise. How about a scenario where you either have to start in Europe or the CHL to get noticed, or if you get fired from the NHL, you have to go back to Europe or the CHL to build your name up. Similar to FIFA, we should be able to complete multiple seasons in European leagues with the goal of moving up from the smaller divisions. Number 2. GM Connected. GM Connected was the online franchise mode that the NHL series offered for what seemed like an hour and a half. Despite only being around a couple years, GM Connected retains a loyal fan base who have clamored for the mode to return. I understand that everything online is based around drawing money from the player. And I really hate to say this out loud and, give anybody any ideas, but, there are ways to monetize franchise mode, right? You can monetize anything. I'm drinking bottled water right now. That's neither here nor there. Never mind the shameful things that I would pay for, franchise mode included. The NBA 2K series has online My League, Madden has online franchise, and pretty much everything on planet Earth is on the internet to some degree. It really feels like online leagues should be an industry standard at this point. Number 1. Roster sharing. Speaking of industry standards, how is it possible that hockey games don't have roster sharing yet? Fight Night Champion, released in 2011, had roster sharing. WWE games have had it for years. 2K, Madden, and MLB all have it and have burgeoning communities of players who make rosters so deep and detailed that the creators sometimes get hired by the actual companies who make these games. There's absolutely no downside to roster sharing. It allows patient and creative players to extend the life of your game, giving fans who have grown bored of different modes a reason to keep playing and to keep thinking about it. Roster sharing only serves to bring more people into the game. Also, let's be honest here, if ever a sports game needed roster sharing, it's NHL. Has an NHL game ever had satisfying rosters once, ever, one time? The NHL series once rated a man 1 overall. 1 out of 100. He wasn't even bad. He was a serviceable, workman-like mid-60s at worst. I can say this with all honesty, and not because I'm taking a big stand or anything, but if we don't get roster sharing, I won't be buying NHL 21. Just because between this second and the scheduled release of NHL 21, we are getting the Tony Hawk reboot, FIFA 21, Madden 21, UFC 4, NBA 2K21, and PGA 2K21. So the NHL needs to hit some basic industry standards here if they want a chance to compete with all of that sports gaming thunder. That's going to do it for us today at Operation Sports, but if we missed anything, feel free to shout it out to us in all the various ways that a person can receive a message in 2020. And if you'd like to learn more about the man that the NHL series declared to be the worst hockey player of all time, please check out my top 5 worst players in the history of the NHL series. I'll link that in the comment section. My name is Matthew Ederer, and if you liked this video, hit like, and be sure to subscribe for more hot Operation Sports action. Thanks for watching, everybody.